All right, I don't know if you remember this, but there was an author of an op-ed in the New York Times in 2018, known at the time as an anonymous White House official who wrote about Trump officials thwarting Trump. And he has finally revealed his identity after saying publicly, by the way, on air, that he wasn't anonymous. Take a listen.
There was an op-ed, there was a book by someone themselves anonymous. Are you aware of who that is?
I'm not. Look, and that was a parlor game that happened in Washington, D.C. of a lot of folks trying to think of who that might be. I've got my own thoughts about who that might be, but, I want my focus to be on the president, and I certainly don't want to. I wear a mask for two things, Anderson, Halloweens and pandemics, so no.
Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. All right. Well, it's not funny because he was asked a question, and I believe CNN calls that facts first, right? That's lying. So I am so excited to bring in our company and discuss this. Joining us now is healthcare analyst and author of The Cure, a blueprint for solving America's healthcare crisis, and one of our best quiz contestant picture takers, Seth Denson, and town hall columnist, and the current winner of our weekly quiz, Derek Hunter from the Derek Hunter podcast. Gentlemen, welcome on a good Friday to you.
Good to be with you.
Good to be here.
All right, gentlemen, I want to kick this thing off to show you how Chris Cuomo responded to Miles Taylor's comments that you just saw. Take a listen.
First, what matters most, certainly to me. You lied to us, Miles. You were asked in August if you were anonymous here on CNN with Anderson Cooper, and you said no. The problem is with having lied is that now you are a liar. And people will be slow to believe you when you lied about something as important as whether or not you wanted to own this. Why not come out when you wrote the book and avoid the idea of a mysterious money grab?
Yeah, why not?
Seth, he has a really good point here, essentially, because it's like, why trust anything he says if he lied about who he was in the first place?
Consistent theme with those who adored the president and then apparently don't like him anymore, right, is to come out and lie and then do something else. Listen, there's a lot of talk. I was listening to some others on some other side of things talk about this guy's courage. So wait a minute. You pen an article anonymously, then write a book anonymously until you get around some of your friends over at CNN and get a contributorship, which I think he has now.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden I can
be
courageous. Listen, this is not courage of their convictions.
By the way, he could have just said to Anderson, I do know who it is. I'm not able to disclose it. I can't comment any further. He could have wouldn't have disclosed him, by the way. He could have just said, I cannot discuss that matter, and that would have been a non-answer. But he chose to lie and then try to be funny about it. But Derek Hunter, check out this op-ed that he actually wrote, the anonymous op-ed that he wrote in 2018. It says, meetings with him, meaning this is him writing about Donald Trump, veer off topic and off the rails. He engages in repetitive rants, and his impulsive results in half-baked, ill-informed, and occasionally reckless decisions that have to be walked back. Well, here's the thing, Derek. Phraseology matters. He sold himself as a powerful guy. And right now, if you hear the New York Times and others talk about it, they say he was the former chief of staff to Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen. But, oh, wait a second. Here's the catch. He actually, at the time he wrote it, wasn't the chief of staff. He was a lower level person. Yes, I will give him he was a senior level person. But the New York Times and he make himself out to sound like he was this top guy in the Oval Office all the time. Not true. He pretended to be somebody he wasn't and create the impression that he was around the president and all these cabinet secretaries. Not true, Derek Hunter.
No, there's no doubt. Look, CNN hired James Clapper, who lied to Congress. So maybe he thought of it as job security. Lying over at CNN is a prerequisite. But no, he wasn't in on meetings with the president. The president didn't set up meetings with Miles Taylor. He was probably in a couple with probably 40 other people. You know how those meetings go. He was presented as a senior level staffer. I would not give him senior level status like you did, even as chief of staff at DHS, because that was, look at the names that were floated around. Was it Kirstjen Nielsen who wrote it? Was it Mike Pompeo who wrote it?
I'm glad you said that, Derek. You know what's funny is there were a group of us, former White House officials and senior officials, real senior people, that had discussions around that, and we came up with a list of like 15, 20 people. That guy wouldn't have made the top 500.
Yeah, nobody knows who he is today. People have already forgotten him because it had no impact. But the self-righteous tone of his op-ed and the self-righteous tone of his book were a perfect fit for CNN. But now you have to go back and look at all the other New York Times stories that say a senior level of somebody or other who told us this based on information from a senior level, this or that. Is it somebody who works in the mailroom? Is it somebody's personal assistant? Is it a deputy undersecretary of the Department of Insignificance? These things matter, and the New York Times, by branding him as a senior level official, have damaged themselves retroactively and going forward.
Yeah, I feel like because I watch Patriots football on Sundays, I can now be called an NFL senior insider or something. Like, this is what they have done is really undermined a ton of the credibility, well, anything that was left of it at the New York Times and in the mainstream media anyway.
Well, the sad thing about it, too, is essentially, you know, he tried to just make all this up, and it's like your point, Sean. It's like if you sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, then you can make up whatever you want if they're saying what you wanted to say, and ultimately that would say bad things against the president. So it's unfortunate, one, that he lied about it, and it's unfortunate that he wasn't honest with his the weight of his position at the time as well.
The pattern, Lyndsay, guys, is that whatever is anti-Trump, we will allow to get by. So they cover up the Hunter Biden story, not a problem. They give this guy scene because it's all in the greater pursuit of undermining Donald Trump and the right. That's the problem.
Well, we've been told by Jeffrey Goldberg over at The Atlantic that senior government officials have told him that the president was bad-mouthing troops.
Good point.
Everybody in the room has said no. Everybody in a position to be in the room has said no.
Right.
So who are these people?
I totally get this. This is great points. Anyway, I thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Sure.